Hey guys, and welcome back to another lap guide here on the Coach Dave Academy YouTube channel. My name is Matt Emery with Veloce Vexed, and we're here for week 5 at the Monza circuit. Let's get into the hot lap. So let's get into the hot lap guide then for the Monza circuit for week 5. Obviously got a nice and long pit straight, quite a bumpy circuit as well to contend with. It just doesn't help too much under braking. Just looking out for the brake markers on the left hand side. Slam the brakes on just before we get to the 150 meter board on the left hand side. So just sort of in the middle of the 200 and the 150, as you can see on the left. And then brake into about 80-85%. And then slowly just trailing off as we get towards the apex, down to first gear, on the throttle briefly in the middle of the corner, and then make sure we take a lot of this sausage curb on the inside for turn 2, and then on full throttle. So yeah, really important that you look out for your braking markers here, especially as you have so many heavy braking zones around this circuit. So as I said, about 170 meters for turn 1. Slam the brakes on, and then you can see this nice trail we have here. Off into the apex, first gear, a bit of throttle just after turn 1, and again using a lot of the sausage curb on the apex of turn 1 as well. So the limit is pretty much all 4 wheels just over the curb. If you do go slightly further than that, you can pick up a slowdown. So just be really careful with that. Don't go any further than this. This is pretty much the limit. And then obviously you don't want to take too much of turn 2 as there's this sausage curb or the sleeping policeman, whatever they're called. Right at the apex. So you want to aim for this one, just get your wheels hooked on the inside for the apex of turn 2, but don't go any further than that. What I'm going to do is just show you the telemetry and the braking in Delta as well, so just hop over to that now. So just jumping into Delta here, guys. So this is the turn 1 and 2 chicane. As I said, you're heavy on the brakes for turn 1, about 80%, speeds out to about 82.75, and then trailing off it. You have this sort of phase just before we turn in where you're sort of holding the brake about 65%, and then towards the apex we trail completely off, and then actually get back on the throttle just briefly before we turn for turn 2. And yeah, this shows all your minimum speeds, gives you a delta for a reference lap, so you can use any of the data pack lap times and compare them against yourself. Obviously you've got things like the gear ratios, the RPM, your steering angle here as well. So this is really useful. I think this will be the best tool in terms of comparing yourself against some of the best. So definitely recommend using this. And I wish I had this tool when I was, coming through the ranks a bit more. Just see where you're losing time. So yeah, this is what it should look like in Delta. Just a nice smooth trail, and then we trail off towards the apex, back on the throttle, and then on full throttle for the exit as well. On the exit turn 2, full throttle on the exit, no need to short shift. have enough traction, and then taking the shortest line down to the second chicane. So just hugging the white line on the inside all the way around, using a bit of the curb as well. And then up into 6th gear. And then just looking again on the right hand side for our braking markers. Really the best reference for the brakes is this bit of tarmac here and this orange marshal post on the right hand side. You want to brake just before them. Also, obviously, this massive bridge here is a good reference as well. So just before the 100 meters, about 125 or so, slam the brakes on. Obviously, don't want to slam them on too hard as you're going to lock up. And then just gradually releasing them again towards the apex, down to 2nd gear. Again, not using too much of the apex curb just to make sure we don't get a slowdown. So again, this is about the limit you want to use here. As long as you've got some sort of tyre on the white line, you're okay. But I'll just show you that again in slow motion, just to get the braking right. Really important to trail correctly in this car, onto the brake as well and off it. Otherwise, you lock up the front so easily. And this is a circuit where you're going to struggle a lot with front locking. So if at any point you are struggling with that, just move the brake bias slightly to the rear, just 1 or 2 clicks, and that will help with your front locking. For the second apex, not trying to take as much curb as it's a bit more mounted, a bit higher, so you're going to unsettle the car a bit more. Obviously, this car is a bit better over the bumps than some of the Formula cars or the prototypes, but still don't try and take too much. Just want to get the corner of it, maybe just your tyre on the inside of the orange curb. And then you can see it launches you in the air. And then back on full throttle, try not to dip a wheel on the gravel, just get right to the limit, as it will just slow you down slightly. And then we head on to the 2 Lesmos. Braking in a straight line, down to 3rd gear, and then just trailing into the apex. And by this point, already halfway through the corner, already back on the throttle. So just slow that for you down again. So down to 3rd gear, about 50% brake initially, and then trail down to about 15%. 3rd gear, and then get on the throttle as early as you can to carry the minimum speeds. You can see the rear actually gets away from us slightly there. So just be a bit careful, especially in the race. Don't want to overheat your rear tyres at all. Again, iRacing is quite sensitive with the tyres, so any slides you do have, probably feel for the next couple of laps. So just be really careful with that. In qualifying, it's not as big of an issue. But yeah, just be careful with the rear end through Lesmo 1. And then as far as the left-hand side again, to open up Lesmo 2, down to 3rd gear, using a bit of the curb on the apex of the corner. As a reference of where to brake, just before this 50-meter board on the left-hand side. Again, trailing into the apex with the brake pedal, and then using all of the exit as well. The limit here is this second white line, or the drain, whatever it is here. So you can go just about this far, no, not really any further, as you're going to get the gravel. And if you do go too far, you do get an off-track as well, so just watch out for that one. Back onto the racetrack then, heading towards the Scari. Just again taking the straightest line possible that we can, and then under the old layout, the old oval layout, and then again spotting our braking point just about before this bridge here, or this banner, just before a Scari. Again, there's a nice orange marshal post you can use for a reference as well. So starting to hit the brakes from there, again just trailing on really nicely. You see we've got a nice smooth trail there, down to 3rd gear. Aiming to just get our front tyre just in that gap there between the white line and the sleeping policeman, just so we don't launch the car in the air, because these things are quite brutal. So just in the middle, bang on there. Again, turning in just about from the curb, so you can flick it slightly right just as you turn in to open up the corner a bit more. And then this bit's really just trying to maximise the exit here, so we turn slightly more left than we usually would just to open up the rest of the corner. So if I go in here, you notice how we just slightly drag the car this way to open up the exit of the corner. And then we're trying to get the car, we're aiming really for these slight sausage curbs there. They're not quite as big as the other ones. Where are we? Sorry, there we are. Yeah, so just hopping over these ones there. The car doesn't mind that at all. You have to take a bit of the throttle off just to make sure the rear doesn't step out on you. And also make sure you can make the exit. And then completely flat across this one. You can hop all over this curb as well. It's these small ones that are okay to use, but it's the big ones at turn 2, for example, that you want to avoid completely. So you can hop over completely over that one, keep it completely flat, use all of the exit AstroTurf on the exit of the corner, Again, just don't go too far as you will pick up an off track. Again, I think the limit is this second white line. And then get it back towards the racetrack. And then we're setting up the final corner, so flick it back to the left-hand side. Again, very bumpy coming into this one, and another heavy braking zone. And then slamming on the brakes just before we get to this patch of AstroTurf and this white line on the circuit, just before the 100-meter boards. Again, about 50% on the brakes, and just trailing in really nicely to the apex. Third gear, get on the throttle as early as you can, just let the car trail out towards the white line on the exit. And then for qualifying, going to be want to take a nice tight line towards the finish line, just to shave those extra few hundredths off in the race. Doesn't matter too much. And then, yeah, that completes a lap of the Monza circuit. So that was the hot lap guide then for week 5 at the Monza circuit. My name's Matt Emery. It's been Coach Dave Academy. Obviously, check out all our latest data packs on our website, coachdaveacademy.com. Any questions you guys have as well, just use the Discord. And yeah, I will see you next week for Portimao for week 6. Take care, guys.